Chester was asking.
I'm hoping, but obviously my kids aren't here with you Bill, so he's doing virtual
Sure,
lessons. So
sure.
I came straight from Carmichael.
Oh, we have another. I want to. Want to make sure to correct this again too, because he's got a. Let me see. There it is. It's pronounced Bloom.
Which one?
This one here, Violet
Bloom.
Herman
Okay.
Bloom.
But there was someone else I got a late thing, but I didn't get to do it because I was on my way to the other service. So, someone else to be added to the road service, but I don't know who it was.
Oh dear. Hmm. Maybe they'll be here tonight.
Yeah.
I'm not aware of anyone passing.
No, I don't think it was passing. I think it was someone
Oh,
added to the list.
okay. Okay.
So I think
You
it
don't
will.
mind me having my water down here, do you?
No, I don't mind at all. I want to talk to the guy who's streaming.
Okay. She's asking, and if you thought your kids would be excited, he sent a letter out to Nishana reminding them, and he said his kids didn't hear because of the heat, so.
Okay, so we're gonna, I think we're just gonna go and ask the rabbi, I think, tonight then.
Okay.
Does that sound all right?
Sure, sure.
Okay.
You can, I'll just take
I'll
your.
actually, if anybody wants to talk about the past week in the
Okay,
hostage situation,
absolutely. Okay.
and then we'll go from there.
All right, sounds good.
So make it very informal.
Okay, very good. I'll take your lead.
Okay.
I've got a person lighting candles tonight,
Okay.
so I'll just ask.
So you'll
them
just
to-
call the person
I'll just,
up.
yeah. Okay.
Ready?
Yep, let's do it.
Shabbat Shalom. Just in case you weren't here last week and didn't read, I'm Rabbi Chester. I'm here for the next 2 weeks, and then Rabbi Nancy will be back. I talked to her a couple times this week, and she's doing well. I haven't talked to her since yesterday when she went for her follow-up appointment. I tried to get her this on the way here, but she was doing well and feeling well, just taking it very, very easy at this point. And she says Shabbat Shalom, and I also have, if I don't do this, I can't go back to where I live. Carrie Cohen said to make sure that I say Shabbat Shalom to everyone. So I just do, I don't know if you know this, on the first Friday night of the month, Rabbi Nancy usually comes and does services for us at 4:30 and then runs over here to do 6 o'clocks. And so Carrie was there and knew I was coming and said, make sure you say Shabbat Shalom. So Shabbat Shalom from Carrie. So we're going to start, and again, I thank Roberta for doing the Chazanut tonight, really appreciate it. So we begin now with
Hine Mato, page 128. Hine Mato
Ruhanaim
Shevet Achim Gam Yachad
Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. Hinei ma tov, Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. Hinei ma tov, Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. Hinei ma tov u'manayim, Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. Hinei ma tov u'manayim, Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. We continue with the lighting of the Shabbat candles on page 120.
And we'd like to ask Debbie Gould to come up and light the candles for Shabbat.
And please rise, those who are able.
Ata Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kirishanu b'mitzvotah v'tzivanu Amen.
So I'll ask you a question. Somebody might know I think we can be seated now. Somebody might know the answer. Why do we do this? Okay. Right, and that's also what is said for most congregations is we bring in the spirit of Shabbat or whatever might be said. The real halachic reason that you do it is, in Judaism, when you say a blessing, you do the thing after. So when you say motzi, you eat the bread. When you say kiddush, you drink the wine, okay? When you pour the water and you say the bracha, you wash your hands, okay? But look at the candles now. If I lit the candles first, which means Shabbat has begun, it's not going to work. So they created what we might call a fiction, which is you light the candles, then you say the bracha and cover your eyes, and then the first thing you see is the Shabbat candles that are lit. Okay? And then after that, which is, and then it takes on a lot of different reasons. Of course, if you're covering your eyes, then it's the spirit of coming in, and people have done that. And different things that they do in lighting the candles. But the halachic reason is so that when you see the candles, it's really, you've said the bracha, and then you're doing the act. So it's just a very interesting little thing. Okay, we continue now with Shalom Aleichem on page 142.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlakim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlakim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Barkuni l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlakim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Seichem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlakim,
continue now on page 138 with Lecha Dodi. At the last 1, 2, 5, and 9, right?
Right.
And then, of course, at the last one, we stand up and welcome the Shabbat bride.
Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala, Panei Shabbat Nikabela, Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala, Panei Shabbat Nikabela, Lecha Dodi, Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala, Panei Shabbat Nikabela, Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala, Panei Shabbat Nikabela, Shamor v'zakor b'dibur echad, Hishmianu el hamiyuchad, Adonai echad u'shemo echad, L'shem u'tiferet v'hilah. Lecha Dodi, Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala, Panei Shabbat Nikabela, Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala, Panei Shabbat Nikabela, Likrat Shabbat lekuven elka, Hihi mekor habraka, Merosh mikedem nesuka, Soma aseh b'machshava pehila, Lecha Dodi, Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala, Panei Shabbat Nikabela, Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala, Panei Shabbat Nikabela, Hitoreri, Kiva Ore, Humi Ori, Uri, Shir Daveri, Kivod Adonai Alayich Lila, Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala, Panei Shabbat Nikabela, Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala, Panei Shabbat Nikabela, Boi v'shalom ateret bala, Gam b'simcha u'b'tzola, Toch emunei am segula, Boi chala, Lecha Dodi, Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala, Panei Shabbat Nikabela, Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala, Panei Shabbat Nikabela.
Page 144, Chatzi Kaddish.
Ikadav Ishtah Shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
V'mal divrakute yamik malkute, V'kayed kon uvyom ekon, Ukayed kol Beit Israel, Bagala, Uvitzman Karim, Be'iru, Amen, Yehesh me Rabbah Mevorach, Le'olam Olam Me'amaya, Yitbarach, Yitbarach, Nomami Naseh, V'yitadav, V'yitalel, Shemei D'Kudisha, Reku, Leila Milko B'Shirata, Tushbekata V'nechemata, Dami
Ran Be'alma.
Amen.
We rise, those who are able, for the Baruch Hu.
Page 146. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed.
Please be seated. Let us read together on page 147. O God, you are as near as the very air we breathe, yet farther than the farthermost star. We yearn to reach you. We seek the light and warmth of your presence.
Though we say you are near, we are lonely and alone.
Oh, let our desire be so strong that it will tear the veil that keeps you from our sight. Let your light release our darkness and reveal the glory and joy of your presence. The Ma'ariva Ravim, of course, is a prayer of creation, thanking God for creation. Anybody want to share for a moment something you've seen this week, from last week, that has moved you in terms of something of creation or of happiness in a very difficult week? Yes.
The leaves are falling from the tree.
Ah.
It's close to its end, fall is on its way.
Okay, anybody else? I'll tell you what I saw this week, and it really didn't have so much to do with nature, is living at Eschaton, where I do, the average age is not the youngest. So one of the things is that also one of the beautiful things that they do there is you get a key to go out to the park, Gibbons Park, I think it's called.
Oh.
And we all get a key to go out and come back in. And when you're with so many people that are our age, and you go out and you see this one thing that happened, it was so wonderful. There was a little kid about this big and very afraid to go on the slide. And all of a sudden, her mother helped her up the slide. She was almost crying, and then she came down, and she was thrilled and ran to her mother, and it was like a Mashiach had come.
Oh, wow.
You know, it was just beautiful. So it doesn't only have to be from the trees, or it can be also part of Joe.
Very nice.
Could you do it more loudly?
I was in San Jose this week, and I saw a black squirrel.
Oh, wow.
It's kind of interesting. It's a gray squirrel. It's a beautiful story. Somehow they evolved in a park in Palo Alto, and I'd seen them in this park years ago. The first time I saw them, I was amazed. They were like gray squirrels except they're all black, and that was the only place that they existed, to my knowledge. And it seems like they're spreading around the peninsula, Bay Area.
Huh.
Wow.
Oh. Anyone else? Yes. The what?
Pretty sunsets.
Oh.
Yes.
When you talk about the squirrels, I know I sit in the park sometime on the bench, and there's a squirrel that's like that, and it's looking at me, and I'm looking at him, and I'm wondering, what does he think about me? I know what he thinks about, I think about him. They're really interesting. So, again, Shabbat Shalom. Let's continue now with the Ahavat Olam, page 150.
Ahavat Olam, Beit Yisrael, Amcha Ahavta, Amcha Ahavta, Torah u'mitzvot, u'chim u'mishpatim, Otanu limadita, Otanu limadita, Al Kain Adonai Eloheinu b'shofenu, U'chumenu nasiya b'chukecha, V'nismat b'direi Toratecha, U'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed, Ki hem chayenu, ve'orech yameinu, uvahem neged yomam v'layla, neged yomam v'layla, ve'achavacha al tasir, mimenu please
We
rise.
rise now for Shema.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Baruch Shem Kibod Le'olam Vahem. Page 151. Please be seated. We read together. As you taught Torah to those whose names I bear, teach me Torah too. Its mystery beckons, yet I struggle with its truth. You meant Torah to me. Did you mean the struggle for me too? Don't let me struggle alone. Help me to understand, to be wise, to listen, to know. Lead me into the mystery. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. Page 158, Mi Chamocha.
Mi kamoka ba'elim Adonai, mi kamoka nedar b'kodesh. Nora tehilot, oseh felet, nora tehilot, oseh felet. Malkutecha, ra'uvanecha, bokeh ayam lifnei Moshe u'Miriam, Zeli anu yamu, Adonai imlo, Adonai imlo, le'olam va'ed.
Ne'amar ki fad Adonai et Yaakov, v'galo miyad chazak mimenu, Baruch atah Adonai Ga'al Yisrael. Page 159. Sing the song of men and women, join in understanding and respect, the song of God's miracles, and earth protected and cherished, a gift for our children and the generations to come. The song of a land once ravished by war, now quiet and content, her soldiers home to leave no more, the song of a world redeemed, a song of peace. Hashkivenu. I think you should have it in your programs. Is it there?
Yep, it should be.
Yep, okay. Hashkivenu.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, l'shalom. V'hamidenu malkeinu l'klayim. Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha, Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha. Amen. Shelter us beneath thy wings, O Adonai. Guard us from all harmful things, O Adonai. Keep us safe throughout the night, till we wake with morning's light. Teach us daily wrong from right. Amen. 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 Amen.
Vishamru, page 162.
Vishamru b'nei Israel et ha-Shabbat, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל עוד לעולם, עוד Tamim, Asa Adonai, Asa Adonai, et Hashemayim, ve'et ha'aretz, v'shamru, b'nei Israel, et Hashabbat, latzot, et Hashabbat, l'dorotam berit olam. Uvayom hashvi, Shabbat vayhi nefesh, Shabbat vayhi nefesh, Shabbat vayhi nefesh, v'shamru b'nei Israel, et Hashabbat, latzot, et Hashabbat, l'dorotam berit olam.
Hello. How are you? Can I ask you a question? Is that okay? I want to know, did you see anything very nice today? Anything outside that you thought was very pretty? Oh,
Oh,
the sky is
yes,
pretty.
yes.
What is your name? Amber. Oh, that's a pretty color name.
Oh, she's foxy today.
Oh, you're Foxy. All right.
The animal.
Oh. Foxy, I gotta tell you something, that when I had somebody in my temple, now, how old are you, Foxy?
Oh, almost,
Six?
wow.
Okay, 5 and a half, well, good. You know, she would come every day to my preschool and she would have a different name. I would say, what's your name? And I knew her real name, but I can't even remember all the names that she had. But now she's studying to be a rabbi, so she's really gonna have a name.
Oh, yes, she is.
You never know what's gonna happen. Well, Foxy, we're glad you're here. Okay, you brought down the average age about 90 years, so
Yeah,
welcome.
you did.
Really
You
nice to
did.
have you here. Okay, we continue now with the tefillah, page 164, 66, 68 through 170. Those who are able, please rise.
Adonai sipsafatika ufi agitehilateka. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Eloheinu Motenu Elohei Abraham Elohei Yitzhak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel Elohei Leah Ahel Hagidol Hanibona Hanara El Elyon Gomel Hasadim Tovim Vekonei Hakol Verzoser Hasadinabot Bimot Umegulav Livne Lehem Leman Shemo Be'ava Melech Ozer Mashum Magim Baruch Atah Adonai Magim Hamurham Ezrat Serah Atah Gibor Leom Adonai Mekaye Metimata Aroshia Morid Hatal Melkokel Kayim Blekesed Mekaye Metim Bera Amin Rabin Somek Nofim Beroke Kolim Umatir Asurim Umekayen En Nato Lishene Yafa Mika Mocha Bagivarot Umidomelach Melech Mimi Umakaye Umatzmiya Yeshua Fene Edma Atel Halol Hakmetim Baruch Atah Adonai Mekaye Hametim Atah Kadosh V'Simcha Kadosh Udoshim B'Yom U'Hola Selah Baruch Atah Adonai Ha'el HaKadosh.
We continue standing for the Amidah, reading in the Siddur, prayers that are there, or else the prayers of our hearts.
page 175. Ritzei Adonai Eloheinu, Ve'amcha Yisrael, U'tefiletam bi'ahava tikabel, U'tehile ratzon, Tamid avodat Israel, Israel Amecha, Baruch atah Adonai, she'otika levadecha ba'irat navod, navod, navod.
We continue the Amidah silently, either standing or sitting, whichever you wish, in silence. Page 178, Oseh Shalom. Oh,
180.
180.
Oseh Shalom Bimroma, Uyaseh Shalom Aleinu, Ve'akol Yisrael, Ve'imru, Imru, Amen. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, Ve'akol Yisrael, Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Israel. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Israel. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Israel.
So Shabbat Shalom once more. It's nice to be here with everyone. Foxy, Shabbat Shalom. Okay. Originally, when I was told at 6 o'clock this was supposed to be a service, a family service with a lot of kids here. Okay. It's nice that she's here. Okay. So. Huh? We're kids at heart. Okay. But I'm glad to hear that. Okay. Except I think that the story I was going to tell her something may have been a little too kidsy at heart, so I don't know. So I want to do the following, actually. I want to just see if anyone this has been a hard week. I mean, this has been a hard week for the Jewish community. It's been a hard week for the Jewish world. And I just want to know if anyone wants to say anything or share anything before we do one other thing. We're going to say them before Kaddish. Yes, I have them here, and we're going to say them before Kaddish. We'll read a little thing before Kaddish. So we are, in doing so, by the way, I can only talk about Reform congregations because that's what I get stuff in the mail about. Of course, there was the service Tuesday night that some of us went to. But every Reform congregation is in one way or another speaking about the situation, whether it's honoring and saying Kaddish for the hostages, or some type of mention of it and devoting part of the service for it. And we'll do the same thing, of course, at the end if no one wants to say anything. So I'm gonna, since I had a couple of great stories ready, we're not gonna do those tonight, we'll do them another time. So I'm gonna do something that I enjoy doing, and maybe you'll enjoy, which is something, well, first about the Torah portion. The Torah portion is Shoftim, starts off with Shoftim about judges and what judges are to do. But one of the very interesting things, and I have it at the beginning of the sheet here, is it talks about what you can do with trees in times of war. So you're allowed to go in and cut down the trees only if they aren't fruit trees. If they are fruit trees, you're not allowed to cut them down because they should be there to bear fruit in the future. And from that, they get the whole thing in Judaism called Bal Tashchit, which you're not supposed to destroy anything. Because if you look at this that I printed out at the beginning, it says the last thing is, are the trees of the field human? And so Bal Tashchit means you shouldn't destroy anything in nature, okay? And there's some beautiful stories about that and things in nature. One of which is my favorite, that when, I want to get which rabbi it is for a minute, so if you'll just, there we go. Okay, here we go. Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, a student of Hillel, who headed the Sanhedrin during the siege of Jerusalem by the Romans in 70. Rabbi Yochanan taught that if you are in the midst of planting a tree and are told that the Messiah is coming, the messenger bringing a new era of peace to the world has arrived, you must stop planting. First, says Rabbi Yochanan, finish planting the tree, then go out and greet the Messiah. Okay? And of course, there's a story about Yoni and Honi Hama'agal, who is planting a tree. A very elderly man is planting a tree, and someone comes up and says, why are you planting that tree? It takes 70 years for it to have cherubs. And the answer that he gives, well, I won't be here in 70 years, but it's for future generations. So you have, and this is where you get, it's right from here, besides Rebecca at the well, is where you get the stories about kindness to animals and what you should do for animals and various parts of nature. So this Torah portion is just full of various things of that sort. But what I thought I would do for just a few minutes is, and I really like to do about once a year when I'm with the congregation, is an Ask the Rabbi, okay? I've been in this job, shall we say, this profession, for about 1971, you add them over. Okay, so almost 50-some years. So is there any question? You know, I always entitle it, Ask the Rabbi anything you want, but don't be afraid to ask. Okay, so anything about Judaism, anything at all that you'd like to ask.
What's the most amazing thing that you've seen?
What is the most amazing thing that I have seen?
As a rabbi?
Does it have to be something within the synagogue, or can it be anything? The most amazing thing that I have seen is when I went on safari in South Africa. Aside from my love for Israel and going there for my soul, and what it taught me is how insignificant I am. That we're in the animal world, and it's just an amazing world, and that really what we do as human beings to one another is a real travesty. And yet we're part of the animal world. So I would say that that's probably the most amazing thing that I've seen as a rabbi. It was always my dream to go on a safari, so when I retired, the congregation sent me on a safari for a present. Okay, so that was very, yeah.
Well, because you talked about, kindness to the animals and the trees, do you think that has anything to do with why Moses was not allowed into the promised land because he hit a rock?
Okay, why was Moses not allowed in the promised land? Because he hit a rock?
That's the only thing he did?
Like some people say that, but hitting a rock is hitting part of nature.
Right, but I don't think that was it. I think, first of all, he didn't listen to God because God told him to speak to the rock and not hit the rock. But I think what that really is, I think the story of Moses at that point in Moses' life is, and why he couldn't go into the promised land, although that God says you can't go for that reason, is that they needed a new generation. It was time. And that's why only Joshua and Caleb were the two from the old generation who were allowed to go in. But they needed that part of the wandering for 40 years. It's told earlier that you need a new generation to go in. And I think that was the major reason. And also Moses didn't go in because they didn't want him to be buried and know where his burial place was, because then they were afraid he would be worshipped. That's why he dies. And it says no one knows where Moses is buried, because they didn't want him to become the burial. Yeah.
Speaking of the new generations, as you said, are the rabbis that are your age and all the wisdom there, are you guys figuring out a way that their tradition is important and it's foundational? Is there a way that you guys are trying to figure out a way to teach how the new generation can take some of that tradition, not use it, so that way it'll strengthen them for what they have to encounter?
I wasn't quite clear at the end of the question. Are we rabbis that are of a certain age?
Yes.
Do we want to teach tradition?
You want to teach the tradition and foundation so that it's not lost with the new generation?
Okay, that's a great question. Actually, it depends what you mean by the tradition, because the younger rabbis coming out are much more traditional than and I'm talking about in the Reform movement now, are much more traditional than the younger rabbis are. The younger rabbis are more traditional right now. They'll use more Hebrew. I mean, I use a lot of Hebrew in the service, but they'll use more Hebrew. Also, they'll keep more of the traditions. I'm not saying they necessarily keep kashrut and so on, in Reform. But at the same time, they are a lot more. If you look at this here, this Siddur, and you compare the other two Siddurs that I talked about, I think, last week, the Siddurim, they are much more traditional. And for example, in your service here, when you say the Gula and you do Machayeh HaMeitim, you would not find that in the previous Reformed prayer book. Now it's in parentheses here, because you could either say that or Machayeh HaKol, okay? But you wouldn't find that as in the previous Reformed prayer book. You didn't have the prayer for dew or for rain. So there is more in the prayer book that is traditional. So I would think that some of the rabbis today, the younger rabbis, are actually keeping more toward, as conservative Judaism has become more traditional also. I'm not saying it's moving toward orthodoxy, but it too has become more traditional. And I've seen that change as such. Okay. Yeah.
Thinking a little bit about Donna's question, if you look at our traditions and our teachings in Torah, what part of the Torah or teachings are most disturbing or most difficult for you to cope with or give you the most angst?
Okay. You come to Torah study, right? So you have that question. Okay. The most difficult parts, of course, are when God is seen as a very vengeful God. I mean, you even had it in last week's Torah portion. If you remember when we were doing it together in last week's Torah portion about you're wiping out this one or you're wiping out that one. But I think what we have to remember is at the same time, the Torah, if you look at it in progression, is really that God is establishing God's self and the power to these people known as the Israelites. So you have that progression that goes on, but honestly, I have the same problem you have. I can say it's ancient thought and so on and so forth, and it is. But part of the problem that happens is that when you have Christianity born, and God is then, quote, becomes a God of love, and the Hebrew God is a God of vengeance or anger, which isn't true, because a lot in the Torah, God is definitely a God of love. But you have that. I mean, I don't have a real answer for that. But it disturbs me as much as it disturbs you. Yeah.
There is a lot of talk in the Bible about the promised land.
Uh-huh.
And I'm wondering how you reconcile that with what's going on in the West Bank right now, specifically attacks by settlers against
What do you mean how ask me what you mean by how I reconcile.
Settlers, not all of them, but many of them believe that they must be in the West Bank.
Right, okay.
That's the promised land.
Okay, right, I don't want to get into a political discussion here particularly, but I think, well, you have, again, if you go back, and let's go back a little bit in the Torah, what the Torah says, that this land is promised to the Jewish people, to the Israelites, the Jewish people at that point. And that's what God says and God believes. And so a lot depends upon where you are theologically, really. So, and by terminology, in other words, you wouldn't hear a settler call it the West Bank. What would it be called? Huh. Okay, so that's what we have in different terminology. So a lot depends on where are you a, what we would call a very, I don't even want to say traditionalist, because that's a bad term. Are you one who believes in divine revelation, and God promised that? Or are you one who does not believe in that, and believes in what we call the Torah being, in the Bible, divine inspiration, that it was inspired by people who had a belief in God? And that is the difference between very orthodoxy and not so much modern orthodoxy, but ultra-orthodoxy and non-orthodoxy. I do put myself in that second game. Gate, right? Yeah.
What's your favorite Jewish food?
What's my famous what?
Jewish food.
Food?
Jewish.
Jewish food.
Gefilte fish.
Oh, no, not gefilte. No, not gefilte fish. No, I know what it is, and I'm trying to think of the name of it. No, it's, you can help me in the back there. No, I'm just kidding. No. It's kishka. With a little bit of gravy, some good gravy and kishka. You know what kishka is? Everyone know what it is?
What's your second favorite?
What's my second? What's my second favorite? Knishes. Okay, we'll take a couple more since that was a very intellectual question. I appreciate it very much. Yeah.
If for some reason you were not able to be a rabbi, what career would you have chosen?
Okay, well, I wanted to be a rabbi from the time I was 11. Okay, we'll state that, okay? Well, I probably would have become a teacher because my favorite part of the rabbinate is teaching. I would much rather be teaching a class than I would be on the bima. I mean, the bima is part of what you do, but if you had to say in order of things, it would be doing life cycle events of all kinds and teaching. So I would probably become a teacher of some kind. History or literature. Okay. Last couple, any more questions? I'll ask you a question. I have done this once before here, but I don't think so. What do you think as a rabbi I am asked most frequently by Jews about Judaism? First, second, and third we'll take.
Is there a heaven and hell?
Huh?
Is there a heaven and hell?
Close. Number one, is there an afterlife in Judaism? That is the question I am most asked. Number two, or have been asked. Yeah, Joe?
Is there a blessing for
No. Huh? Is there hell? That would be part of the same thing about afterlife.
Something to do with the kosher law? Why can't we?
Why do we keep kosher?
Why keep kosher? Nope, that's not the question. I'm surprised. Second one is, what do you believe about God? And the third one is, why does it always happen to us? Seriously, why in our history has it always happened to us? Why can't somebody leave us alone once in a while? Okay? So those are the questions generally that I'm asked, okay? As a rabbi. All right.
And what do you say?
That's, okay, I'll tell you something. And I said something this today. I asked the same thing I did services before it, at Eschaton. That probably the most memorable sermon that I gave. Now, I'm not saying I thought it was great, but I gave and that people still talk about, and once in a while it will come up in conversation, is I remember the sermon you gave about what Jews believe in the afterlife. And especially when they were in crisis or somebody was dying. So that's not an answer. In fact, I teach a whole course. I've teaching a course a number of times on Jews in the afterlife, because you have to go and look in Torah and various other things, and you have your question, you have the idea there about afterlife and heaven and hell or whatever. I don't like to call it that, but you know, those types of things are all part of the equation, and you have to go from Deuteronomy to Job to Ecclesiastes to rabbinical Judaism and all that stuff. It's really very involved. Okay, all three of those. God's not an easy one either. And what said happened to us, that's another question. Yeah, last one.
I'm surprised that nobody asked you why, I mean, this is something that's been discussed for a long time, but why do bad things happen to good people?
Okay, why do bad things happen to good people? That also happens to be part of the course when I'm teaching, especially the book of Job. Okay, when you speak that because that's patterned after the book of Job. So that's more than a 5-minute answer or 2-minute answer also. Those are all neat courses, to tell you the truth. They're a lot of fun. Okay, that's it. We have, wait a second, I'm looking. Do we have Misha Berach now or announcements?
Sure, let's do Misha Berach.
Okay, we'll do Misha Berach.
We will do announcements.
Okay. Page 371. Does anyone have a name that I'm going to wander a little bit now. But does anyone have a name you'd like to mention for each bearer? For healing. We also think at this point, of course, of the parents of the hostages who are suffering so very, very much. We think of all those in the Middle East that are suffering, all those who are so innocent, both in Israel and in Gaza, who are suffering at this point. We think of those who we watch the news and the floods that are going on all over, those who are losing their homes because of floods, natural disasters, war, anywhere. We also think of those who are alone and lonely, who have no one to say this prayer for them, so do we do now. And those who are suffering in their homes as victims of spousal, elderly, or child abuse, so too are they suffering, and we ask for the Ruach Shlema.
And then we have the list here.
Okay. And the following within the congregation: Sandy Lewin, Meredith Rosenberg, Jerry Steinke, Bill Roselle, Mark Snyder, Mitch Phillips, Carla Gilmore, Mary Hanson, Dawn Cordano, Nir Peled, Bart Willis, Dan Lee, Robin Moore, Burl Schwartz, Ron Burnham, Bruce Silverman, Maytal Mizrahi, Julia Hoffman, Emily Kelly, Mark Mathat, and Rachel Rodman. Let's join together in Misha Berach.
Page 371. Misha Berach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Imotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishe Berach Imotenu Mekor HaBracha Lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body
page 376. Let us read together for our country. O guardian of life and liberty, may our nation always merit your protection. Teach us to give thanks for what we have by sharing it with those who are in need. Keep our eyes open to the wonders of creation and alert to the care of the earth. May we never be lazy in the work of peace. May we honor those who have died in defense of our ideals. Grant our leaders with wisdom and forbearance. May they govern with justice and compassion. Help us all to appreciate one another and to respect the many ways that we may serve you. May our homes be safe from affliction and strife, and our country be sound in body and spirit. And we read together in Hebrew for the state of Israel. Avinu Shabashamayim, Sur Yisrael v'go'alo, Arech et Medinat Yisrael, Ri'eshit Smichat Geulatenu, Hagein Aleha ba'evrat chastecha, Ufaros Aleha Sukat Shlomecha, Ushlach Orcha v'amitcha Losheha, Sarecha v'yotzeha, V'takneim be'etza tova milfanecha, V'natata Shalom ba'aretz, V'simchat olam liyoshvecha, V'nomar. Amen.
Okay, so Mr. Ben Gould, our Director of Education, is going to be doing our announcements tonight. Thank you, Ben.
I think you would have made a great teacher, but I think you taught us a lot tonight.
Oh,
so
thank you.
Yeah, it was great. It was awesome. You know, if the rabbi thing doesn't work out, let us know.
I'll
Yeah.
come here
Yeah, come
and
back.
to your religious school and teach.
Heck yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, absolutely. I take a class, why don't you guys? Yeah. Hi, my name is Ben Gould. I'm the Director of Education for our Neshama program. I'm the guy that emailed you yesterday. Okay, all right. Hi, we'll talk later, okay? Hi, Foxy. Yeah, I'm impressed. My kids are like, no! And I'm like, come on! But, you know, one of these days. Thank you so much, Rabbi Chester. Thank you, Roberta, for leading us to tonight's services. A big shout out to our security coverage for keeping us all safe tonight. Thank you tonight as well to an anonymous Oneg donor, along with Neshama for sponsoring Oneg, which will be happening in the foyer in just one moment. This is my favorite time when I was a kid because some guy's talking and then I'm like, yes, food is around the corner. So I will be quick. I'll be brief, as my grandfather would say. Torah study will be Zooming tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. You can find the link by visiting our website. Next week, please join us back here on Friday, the 13th. For Social Action Shabbat services at 7 p.m., led by Rabbi Chester. We'll also be welcoming guest speaker Cheryl Davis for Moms Demand Action. Learn how together we can end gun violence. I don't know if you guys heard, but there's a food fair coming up. Yeah, 47th annual, absolutely. And we are super stoked about it. You got to go get your delicious food fair favorites. I'm sorry, no gefilte fish. I'm really bummed. But I'm very sure that there's some amazing foods for us to order here. Please, 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 the limited selection of items are available now through September 8th. We also have workshops if you're interested, so please don't miss your chance to join some of our best-selling treats. Stock is limited, so place your orders before they're gone. We have a couple of high holiday workshops coming up this Sunday, September 8th at 11 a.m. Ella Verano will be teaching shofar blowing lessons. I know I am not good at the shofar, and it's like I wasn't a trumpeter, so that's probably part of it. But it's awesome. I highly recommend that if you guys are curious about the mysteries of shofar blowing, please join us at 11 a.m. This Sunday. There's another workshop that's happening at September 22nd when Neshama is in session for the first class of the school year. What? Please join Jeff Swat for a lesson to become a Hagba or a lifter for the Torah. Yes, big muscles. And yes, you too can do it. My recommendation, lift with the knees. This sacred ritual of lifting the Torah is for the entire community. It is a mitzvah, and no one more fitting than our very own Jeff Swat to share these skills. This workshop begins at 9:15 a.m. immediately after dropping off the kids for Sunday school. Yay! By the way, registration for Neshama for our Sunday school is on the website, so please pass that along as well. You may find the 2024-2025 Teruma pledges, and those forms are in the foyer. If you have not done so, please grab one on your way out. Consider your pledge for this coming fiscal year and return the form to our administrator, Miss Jenny Jeffrey. Also in the foyer, new membership packets can be found for any of those that are here tonight interested in learning more about becoming a CBS member. There is also in the foyer flyers for an upcoming events, including our lovely women's retreat, scheduled for September 22nd as well as our 2024 concert series. So, a lot of info in the foyer. So while you're sitting there noshing on some amazing no-name items, please come join us in the foyer. And I believe there is one more announcement. I believe Ella, Matt, is there something that you wanted to come on up? These are our co-presidents of CBS. So please say hi. Yeah.
Thank you. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Very quickly, we are joined today with Esther Lamont, who's from Assemblymember Josh Hoover's office, and she has something to present our congregation with.
So I also attend synagogue. Thank you, Nez. So, like he said, I'm with Assemblyman Josh Hoover's office. I heard about the food fair coming up, and I was very excited to hear about it. I attend Mosaic Law every week, so I hear all the Jewish news in the community from there. And I thought, what a shame if this went unrecognized. So, there's a certificate of recognition for this year's food fair and for all the continuing work that this synagogue does for the Jewish community and the broader Sacramento community.
Thank you. Thank you. Please say thank you to the assembly member as well.
Of course.
All right, thank you.
Shabbat Shalom.
At 11 a.m., we'll be doing, on this Sunday, we will be packing for the food fair. We're looking for more volunteers, the more the merrier. We'll be here. Holly will be here. I'm sure some other people will be here. Issa will be here. Ella will be here. So you should come join us. Anything else? What? It's always fun. All right.
I just want to add one more thing on the women's retreat, which we've got a good turnout for already. The last day for sign up for that will be the day after the food fair on September 16th, so make sure you sign up or contact Jenny if you want to send in a check for the women's retreat. It's on the 22nd, but the last day to sign up is September 16th.
And what is your favorite Jewish food?
Whitefish salad.
Okay. We're going to continue now with the Aleinu on page 500. Okay. 586, the Aleinu, please. Let's those who are able, please rise for the Aleinu.
Aleinu l'shabei Adon hakol, la tegula yotzer breishi, shalo asan kikro haratzot, velo samanu kishkev hol hadama, shalom salkal kenu kayem, vegor aleinu kukol hamonan, vanaknu chorim, umistaklavim umodim, Lifnei melech malkei hamlakim hakadosh baruch hu. Page 558. Zeinu notei shamayim ve'osei haaretz u'moshe yekaro b'shamayim imal hushin atuzo begove meromin u'Eloheinu edom El melch malkeinu efesu ato, chachatu b'torato v'yadet hayom v'hashivota elevavecha ki Adonai hu 591. V'ne'emar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad u'shemo
And now we continue with Kaddish, if you would remain standing, those who are able. We think first of all, anybody wishes to mention a name who's in the midst of Shiva, 7 days of mourning. I read the following. This is from the Hartman Institute, where I know Rabbi Nancy was this summer in Israel. A scholar at the Hartman Institute sought to answer the following questions her young daughter asked as they discussed the news. My daughter asked the same questions we are all crying out right now, the questions at the core of our pain. And we mentioned these names now as we're going to say Kaddish. How could Hirsch Goldberg Poland's parents, who loved him so fiercely, who shook the foundations in heaven and earth to free him, not get to hold their sweet boy again? How could Ori Danino, who escaped the hell of Nova but went back to save others, not make it back himself? How could Alex Lubinoff, whose wife gave birth to their second child while he was in captivity, documenting each new moment of life to share with him, being killed just miles away from his new baby? How could Almog Sarusi, who had already experienced the agony of seeing his girlfriend murdered at Nova, suffer even more? How could Carmichael Gott, with her laughing brown eyes, who cared for the hostage children and taught them yoga to help pass the time, be taken from us? And how could Eden Yerushalmi, who hid for 4 hours from monsters at Nova in a shrub and begged her family in her last words to save her, not be saved? For Hirsch, for Ori, for Alex, for Almog, for Carmel, for Eden, we mention these names in the midst of Shiva. We also think of the following. Anybody worshiping now for the past 30 days, Shloshim, that would like to mention the loved one's name? We also have those for the last year: Ellen Sandler, Ruth Lander, Wadi Al-Fayoum, Sonny Eisen, Allison Green Braverman, Eleanor Love, Rochelle Joy Pollack, Evelyn Guriev, William Bourne, Richard Bruce Lieberman, Louis Bourne, Carolyn Wismiller, Michael Saperstein, Dr. Benjamin Harouni, David Harris, Marjorie Bloom, Ron Bachman, Norm Jacobs, Lori Serkin, Penny Clark, Sandria Ann Haslett, Edward Edelstein, Karen Oakley, Joyce Well, Anthony Mixak, Ann Eisenberg, S. George Ezekiel, David German, Marvin Martin, Cantor George Wald, Lisa Schneerson, Millie Birch. Are there any other names that you would like to mention who died during this past year? And we also think of Tony Stanek. We also think of the following for Yortsites this year: Eva Actor, Harry Benenson, Ida Louise Benjamin, Spencer Block, Viola Herman Bloom, Alfred Brown, David Dressler, Howard Gallant, Esther B. Gorelick, Selma Grossman, Helen Hewitt, Mildred Kurtz, Herman Matisoff, Paul Morse, Michael Rosenberg, Morris Sanders, Henrietta Saperstein, Bella Shapiro, Beverly Eulis, Sally West, Catherine Wilkenfeld, and Isidore Wenkler. Are there any Yortside names that were inadvertently left off the Yortside list, or you would like to add? We now join together in Kaddish, page 598. Yitgadal v'yitgadash Shemei Rabbah, Bialma, Divrach, Yirutev, Yamlich Malchutei, B'chayechon, U'yomechon, U'chaye Dechol Beit Yisrael, Ba'agala, U'bizman Kariv, Imru, Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabba, Mavarach, Le'olam, Olamei Almaya, Barach, B'Yisba'ar, Mitnos, Naseh, B'Yit Adar, B'Yit Ashmod, B'Yit Ashmod, Shemot, Shabbat, Elam, Kol, Birchata, V'Shirata, Tushbachata, V'Nechemata, Amiran, Be'alma, V'Imru, Amen. Shalom, Rabba, Min Shemaya, Hayim, Aleinu, V'Al Kol Yisrael, V'Imru, Amen. Shalom, V'Rama, Huya, Se Shalom, Aleinu, V'Al Kol Yisrael, Amen. Before the closing song, I'd like to read the following, which I read this past Tuesday, Monday night. Almighty and compassionate God, we come before you with heavy hearts, honoring the memory of the 6 brave souls who endured an unimaginable suffering during their captivity. We remember their strength, courage, and their enduring spirit that sustained them through almost a year of darkness. Though their lives were tragically cut short, we celebrate their unwavering hope and the love they carried within, even in the face of such profound adversity. Bless their souls and grant them eternal peace. May their memory be a beacon of hope and light, guiding us to seek justice, stand against cruelty, and to cherish the sanctity of life. Let their bravery inspire us to be strong in the face of fear, to find courage in the depths of despair, and to hold on to tikva, onto hope when we are lost. Let us continue to hope that the remaining hostages will be returned, and that Israel, the Jewish people, can rejoice and live in peace. Amen. Amen. And the question that I'm often asked is, Rabbi, what do you think has kept us alive? And one of my main answers is hope. We are a people of hope, hoping for today, and if not today, tomorrow, as we say, Imlo Machar, if not tomorrow, Machartayim, 2 days from now. And we constantly have that hope, and if there's anything that has kept us going, 2 things, resilience and community. And we are part of that community, that is the community of the Jewish people tonight. We end with a very apropos song, O Javo Shalenu, Shalom Aleinu, page 657.
And before we begin, I just want to thank you for allowing me to assist you these last 2
Well,
weeks.
thank you very much for allowing me to assist you.
So Nez Huckabee will be doing the next 2 weeks assisting Rabbi Chester. So again, actually, Nez, Valerie, why don't you come up here and join me for Odevo Shalom Aleinu, because you do it so much better. It's page 657. They have a little, where did she go? Come on. She's putting it. Okay. 657. Here, just share with me. Odevo Shalom Aleinu, Odevo Shalom Aleinu, Odevo Shalom Aleinu ve'al kulam. Odevo Shalom Aleinu, Odevo Shalom Aleinu, Odevo Shalom Aleinu ve'al kulam. Salam Aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Shalom, shalom, shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Shalom, shalom. Odevo Shalom Aleinu, Odevo Shalom Aleinu, Odevo Shalom Aleinu ve'al kulam. Odevo Shalom Aleinu, Odevo Shalom Aleinu, Odevo Shalom Aleinu ve'al kulam.
Shabbat
Shabbat Shalom.
Do you want me to get something to you?
Yes, I can send you an email so that
You still have my